Welcome back to New Record Day. My name is Ron. If you are into two-channel audio, consider yourself an audiophile or music enthusiast, welcome home. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and bell notification so you know when the next video drops. And in today's video, let's chat about the Revel 226be's. But before we get cracking, I just wanted to invite all my patrons to check out the additional video that I've prepared where I make some comparisons between the 226's and other speakers that we have in-house. And if that's something that you are interested in checking out, along with some other cool patron perks, the link to sign up is down below in the description box. When it comes to top-end extension, I found the 226's to offer a balanced or linear upper mid-range with a soft and smooth sounding top end. Being 3 to 4 times stiffer than aluminum and titanium and nearly half the weight, it's hard to argue that beryllium might be one of the best materials on the planet to use for upper frequencies, namely a tweeter. And as promised in the Sound Clips with Commentary video, I did verify that this tweeter is indeed 100% beryllium instead of another material such as aluminum with a beryllium coating. Either way, while the top end of the 226 is definitely refined, I don't think that it's as expressive sounding as some of the speakers that we've recently spent time with. I'm looking at you, Heresy. What this means is, while neither good or bad, it's just important to know that this won't be the kind of sound that will bring a specific instrument or voice to life, but will surely play it with the rest of the arrangement in a very balanced and pleasing manner. Is the top end of the 226 polite? I think so. I did notice that these do take a slight hit in the time domain, and I wish that I heard a little more life and resolution on top. Getting to the point, I believe this speaker's top end plays it safe and is a great candidate for those who are sensitive to top end extension or who enter listening fatigue easily. Nothing stood out and grabbed my attention, but at the same time, nothing ever offended me. I enjoyed the mid-band performance of the 226's, and I found both it and the upper mid-range to be well-behaved and at the end of the day, play a straight line performance. What that means is this: any well-known tracks of male vocals seem to sound as clean and balanced as I've ever heard in any other reference speakers. Same thing with female vocals, and not once did I really take notice to a specific coloration that wasn't part of the signal path making its way to the speakers. I also noticed that some of my reference tracks from Ben Howard's Every Kingdom, as well as Lord Huron's Lonesome Dreams, displayed all the midband exactly how I like it, and I've heard it on some of my favorite speakers that I have in-house. Even going back to back against something like the Spatial Sapphires or JR Research NX Auticas, I felt that the balance in the midband of all three speakers to share similar traits. This is great, and it's absolutely worth celebrating, but I have to admit that while the balance was great on the 226's, I did also notice there wasn't as much clarity, detail, or resolution that I was hoping to get out of a $7,000 pair of speakers. I think similar to the top end, the mid-range seemed to be pretty smooth sounding, but this can come at the cost of missing some subtle details that I was hoping to hear and that I've been able to hear with other speakers that I've had in-house. Mid-bass and bass on the 226's was a challenge in my room, and I mentioned this on the Sound Clips with Commentary. I kept ending up with some bloated and booming bass, but let me be clear, most, if not all of these issues are my room, and your results will vary. Thank goodness I had this wonderful NAD M33 with Dirac, as taming those nasty bass modes was a breeze, and after dialing in my filters, I was pleased with the bass output on the 226's. Now that I think about it, I almost feel the exact same way about these guys as I did with the recently reviewed JBL HDI 3600s, and one thing that they do have in common is they both use aluminum dome woofers. Now look, here is the deal. There are advantages or pros to using hard and stiff material for bass duty, but like all things in life, it's complicated, and there are also some cons or consequences. While I don't think you will be rushing out to buy a subwoofer after getting the 226s, I do wish there was more texture, resolution, and tone in the mid-bass and bass. When you hear what this sounds like, it's hard to accept anything else as passable, but as a reviewer, I think it's my job to surely offer my thoughts, but also remember, that's my bias and not yours. So I'll say this. Bass output and authority on the 226s is great, and at the same time, might lack some of the texture and tone that some other offerings will offer, such as paper cone woofers, and that's one of their advantages, but they're not perfect either. Pros and cons. Life is complicated. Soundstage impressions. Let's go. Taking a look at the horizontal off-axis of the 226s, we see one of the better fall-aways we have seen here at NRD. At the same time, the vertical off-axis looks very good, as well with only a small dip, with the microphone 16 inches up in the air, which is the blue line. What does this all have to do with Soundstage? Everything. Understand this. When you are listening to a speaker, what's happening to the reflections off the sidewalls, ceiling, and the floor all add up to the entire performance. There has been a direct correlation with great off-axis measuring speakers that also pull into the lead when it comes to soundstage capabilities. Now, while I would say that the Revels completely vanished in my room, and they did, I'll also say that's only one part of the puzzle, and again, I was hoping for a little more top end and resolution throughout the performance, but in the end, when it came to soundstage, these staged with some of the best speakers that I've had in the house, and easily let go, leaving me with the music. So here's the deal. On one hand, we have one of the better measuring speakers that I've spent time with. Throughout the entire bandwidth, these are plus or minus 1.5 to 2 dB. Also, the horizontal and vertical response is textbook, and if that's not enough, the crossover phase integration from the woofer to the mid-range, it's freaking perfect. That's money. That's exactly what we want to see. The spectral decay looks clean from 1K and up, and all that stuff that is down there lower, it's hard to commit to because I'm measuring outside, and that could be a million other things that the microphone is picking up. What we have here is a speaker that showed up and has given me every objective reason to recommend it. And for those reasons, I will recommend it. While I could leave it at that, subjectively speaking, I felt like the performance of the 226s, to play it safe, and even at times held back a little in the detail department. I wish the bass offered more texture, tone, and resolution, and I wish I had a little more clarity throughout the upper frequencies. In closing, the Revel 226be is a well-engineered loudspeaker that only you can decide at $7,000 for the pair if the juice is worth the squeeze. And I'll see you guys in the next video.